You've seen him all over the Daily Show. You've seen him on YouTube. I want y'all to put your hands together, put your hands together, put your hands together. Give it up for Josh Johnson.
My most recent obsession is this court case, this lawsuit against Cardi B. All right. If you're not familiar with Cardi B is a rapper, and she is also a national treasure. Cardi B is incredible, and this case is pretty wild. Basically, what is being alleged in this case is that Cardi B assaulted a security guard. It's alleged that Cardi B assaulted the security guard, and you hear both stories throughout the case. The security guard's story is that she was at work, securing the building. And then Cardi B walks in, and then she's like, "Oh, Cardi B." And Cardi B didn't seem to like that she was approached, that Cardi B was like, "What are you doing right now? Why are you in my face?" And that Cardi B got nasty with her very quickly. And so they were in the elevator together, and she said that she followed Cardi B out of the elevator to clear up any confusion. I don't know if it was to apologize or anything, but she admits that she did follow Cardi B into the elevator and out of the elevator. And then she said Cardi B really lost it and started cursing at her and everything, and then started swinging on her and stuff, and that she got a little nick on her cheek from Cardi B scratching her face, right? And then the receptionist and the doctor that Cardi B was there to see, because Cardi B was in the building for a doctor's appointment, that they broke up the fight, and then everybody went about their way. But because of this assault, because of this nick on her face, she is suing Cardi B for about $24 million. I'll tell you right now, for $24 million, Cardi B could cut up my whole leg, okay? If Cardi B chopped up my leg and gave it back to me in a bucket, I would be like, "You'll be hearing from my lawyer." $24 million. That's crazy. So then, Cardi B's account of things is that she was going to the doctor. At the time, she was pregnant. She didn't want anybody to know she was pregnant. She didn't tell anybody, and she didn't even tell her security guard where she was going that day, her personal security, because she was just trying to keep this whole thing private, right? And even the doctor's office had blocked out time just to make sure they didn't have other clients coming in back and forth, and Cardi B was gonna be the last appointment of the day, right? So Cardi B shows up to the building, and then immediately she hears Cardi B. And so already that's not ideal, right? Like that could happen at any time. Cardi B is very famous. But then she is getting in the elevator, and then she notices the person who screamed Cardi B got in the elevator with her and has a phone in her face. And so she goes, "What are you doing? Aren't you security?" Because she had security on her hands. And then she's talking to her while she's in the elevator, and then she exits the elevator, and she says she can still feel this person behind her. So then she turns around, she's like, "Hey, what are you doing? Why are you recording me? You gotta get out of my face. I'm trying to go to the doctor." And then that's when the person who was recording her, the security guard, got real angry and was like, "I could do what I want. It's my phone. This is my building," which is a misunderstanding of what security is. If that really was said, oof. I've never met a security guard who thought they were clocking in to own the building for a little while. But then they got into what Cardi B says was only a verbal altercation. There was the receptionist and the doctor that came into, I guess, the hallway to break things up. But she said, I didn't touch her, she didn't touch me, so I didn't really think of it again, because if you don't know Cardi B, you should at least know that she's used to verbal altercations. I'm sure they don't stick with her. She was on Love and Hip Hop. And so then she just sort of goes about her life, and then she gets hit with this $24 million lawsuit. This whole thing, to me, just my opinion, but this whole thing feels like when that dude tried to sue Gwyneth Paltrow for millions. Remember that dude, Gwyneth Paltrow, if you weren't familiar with this, basically Gwyneth Paltrow went skiing one time, and then this other dude went skiing, and I don't know exactly how it went down, but I guess they bumped into each other at some point, and then the guy got up and he was like, wow, you're Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh, I'm ruined. No, because this is the thing. Coming after Cardi B seems like kind of easy in a lawsuit like this, just because she was on shows like Love and Hip Hop, and in Love and Hip Hop there's a lot of this. In Love and Hip Hop, whether you're watching Atlanta, Hollywood, New York, there's a lot of almost fights. You know what I mean? Usually it is stirred up by the producers. They get everybody nice and drunk, and then they're like, hey, you won't believe what she said. And then they always believe what she said. And so, Cardi B's been known to pretty much never back down. In fact, there was this old case. I don't think anything ever came to it in like a court sense, but Cardi B was doing I think it was a festival, could have been a concert, and somebody threw something on stage. Somebody threw like a water bottle, and this has happened a lot in like the past. I don't know. People lost their minds through COVID and everything, and now people sometimes even film themselves throwing something on stage. I don't know if it's like to get a reaction out of the performer, and every performer has a different reaction to it. There are some people who, as soon as something gets thrown, they walk off stage, show's over, and they don't even try to continue. There are some people that try to dodge it, act like it didn't happen. There are some people that try to dodge it and then try to find the person who did it and get security to kick them out and everything. Well, basically there was a time where someone threw a water bottle at Cardi B, and I believe she dodged it, but she must have seen who did it, because she immediately threw the microphone at them. They probably thought Cardi B was gonna be some easy pickings. They were like, I'll throw my water bottle now. She's clearly unarmed. And can I just say, throwing a microphone at somebody is one of the funniest projectiles to throw. Because it's the only one where you get to hear their reaction to something being thrown at them in real time. Imagine Cardi B throw a microphone right back at them, and they're like, oh, is that a... Last thing the crowd hears before the show ends is, whoa, watch out! Even better if they turned around, they threw the water bottle, they're like, I think I got it! And so, they had this court case, and I don't know. Cardi B better than me. If it were me, I'd be losing my mind right now. $24 million for... that's what she's alleging. Like, the security guard is alleging $24 million. I don't even think I got $24 million worth of head. I think even if I was in a horrific accident, I'd probably only get like 10, maybe. And that's with half the head missing. $24 million just feels insane. And so, they go to court, and Cardi B's got a lawyer, security guard's got a lawyer, and security guard's lawyer does seem bad at this. I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even know some of the stuff they're saying. When they get into like the real nitty gritty, like the weedsiness of the law, I don't know what's happening, right? All I know from all my hours of watching Law and Order is that if you're a lawyer and you're talking in court, you're talking, right? And then the other side keeps saying objection, and then the judge keeps saying sustain, you're not exactly doing well. And that's what's been happening this entire trial. The judge basically sustaining the whole thing. Like, this lawyer for the security guard keep withdrawing his own questions mid-question because he can feel a sustain coming. And like some of the questions don't have anything to do with anything. It's one thing if you're badgering the witness, or you're really trying to like rile them up and get them to admit something, you try and catch them in a lie or something like that. It doesn't even feel like that's what's happening. This dude will just be asking questions that have nothing to do with anything or the case. It feels like he's just a Cardi B fan. The amount of times that Cardi B's lawyers have had to say objection, relevance is astounding. He's asking her all sorts of questions. At one point, though, he gets back on track and he asks Cardi B, you're saying that you felt threatened by my client. The security guard says, you saying you feel threatened by my client. I'm wondering why you feel so threatened. What was the issue? What was the issue? And then Cardi B says, I was pregnant and she's coming at me. I think she wants to beat me up and I'm pregnant. Hello? Hello? And then he goes, hello. Hello, I'm here. And that's when it occurred to me that maybe what's happening is that this security guard's lawyer, maybe, just throwing it out there, potentially has never met a black person. I think if you've never met a black person in your life, and your first black person is Cardi B, that's a bit of a crash course. That would be like if I never met a white person in my life. Never met a white person, never talked to a white person, didn't even see one in a movie. Never met a white person. Then my first white person ever was Bill Nye the Science Guy. I think I might be walking away with some incorrect assumptions about white people. I think I go back home and tell all my friends and family, oh yeah, white people, they love space. No, they got a bunch of facts about turtles ready at the hip. Oh, and they love bow ties. Can't stop them from wearing a bow tie. The only time I've seen something like this exact moment, this type of thing, this like misunderstanding in that way, was on a TV show called To Catch a Predator. Okay. I don't know if you remember To Catch a Predator, but in case you never watched it, this was some insane reality TV. Basically, To Catch a Predator, they did just that. They would lure and then trap predators online who thought they were talking to underage kids, right? And they would have all these long conversations with them, and then they try to meet up with them. But when they tried to meet up with them, they would go to like the Sting house, right? And at this house, they would show up thinking they're meeting this underage person. Turns out they're meeting Chris Hansen. If you don't know Chris Hansen, you don't know Dateline. All you need to know about Chris Hansen was he was the To Catch a Predator. Oh, you'd hate to see Chris Hansen coming if you were a predator. And so they would lure these predators to this house. And then especially season 1 was like no other thing. Season 1, when people didn't know what was happening, that was some of the wildest television I've ever seen. Because they didn't know who Chris Hansen was, all of them. Some of them did, right? But most of them did not. And so they'd show up to this house thinking that they're going to meet this underage kid. And they might even call out a name or something. Then Chris Hansen would walk in. Chris Hansen walk in holding some papers and everything. Now, because they don't know who Chris Hansen is, they think maybe this is the person's dad or something. So they immediately, they feel caught, but they don't know how caught they are, right? So then Chris Hansen would walk in and be like, "Hi, how's it going?" And then he'd tell them to sit down, and they always sat down. Chris Hansen would sit them down, and then he'd ask them what they were doing here. And they'd try to come up with some sort of lie on the fly or something. And then he would ask them how they know this underage kid. And they'd try to come up with some lie on the fly, something like that. And then Chris Hansen would be like, "Oh, that's interesting because I have the transcripts of your conversation." And no matter what color they were, you watched the color leave their face. And then Chris Hansen would ask them what they meant by certain things in the transcript of the messages and stuff, and these people would just sink. They was terrified, devastated, right? And then Chris Hansen would be like, "Okay, all right, you've answered all my questions. You can go." And even the predator would be like, "What? Really?" Like, yeah, you can go. You can go. And they'd be like, "Oh, okay. I mean, I thought my life was ruined or something. All right." And then they would get ready to walk out. And when they walked out, they were immediately tackled by the local police department.
And not just tackled, like properly football tackled. This would have been unnecessary roughness in the NFL. This is the only time nobody's gonna take you to task over police brutality. You know what I mean? Because the police, to their credit, they would announce themselves and say, "Get on the ground." They were just saying, "Get on the ground" when they were already airborne. Police would be in the air, legs up. "Get on the ground!" It's like, you know your shoulder about to be in his neck. They would tackle him, and they cuff him up, and then they throw him in the car, and they take him to jail. And then in jail, they would go to the interrogation room, and they'd have to answer all of Chris Hansen's questions all over again. I guess him asking was just practice. And there was this one time where this guy comes in, and I don't remember what season it was, but this guy had a very interesting aesthetic. Like he was white, but he had a very like Vanilla Ice vibe to him. You know what I mean? And so he walked in, but when he walked in, he was like. Chris Hansen walked in, and then when Chris Hansen walked in and told him to sit down, he was like, I. And then Chris Hansen does the thing that he does, asks him why he's there, asks him why he's been talking to this underage kid and everything. And then a thing I forgot to mention before that also happened in all the episodes was when Chris Hansen finally announced himself, where he was like, "I'm Chris Hansen with NBC's To Catch a Predator." Cameras would come out from all these different rooms, right? And it was always, without fail, too many cameras. It was always a number of cameras where I'm like, there's no way all those cameras on. There would be people with cameras in the hallway because they couldn't get in the kitchen, just lifting the camera up. Be way too many cameras. And so then the cameras roll in once Chris Hansen announces himself, and then this guy sitting there pulls down his cap a little bit and says to Chris Hansen and all of the cameramen, I'm not really trying to be on TV, you feel me? Repeats it. I'm not really trying to be on TV, you feel me? You feel me? You feel me? And Chris Hansen, without missing a beat, this man says, I'm not really trying to be on TV, you feel me? And Chris Hansen says, yes, we are filming. And I haven't seen such a misunderstanding until the security guard's lawyer says to Cardi B, hello? Yeah, I'm here. That man lucky. That man lucky. Cardi B at no point in her testimony hit him with a like that. That would have broken his brain. That would have ruined his life. He would have bent his knees. Oh! Everybody get out! What's happening? No. Because once again, this dude is wild. This dude is asking her questions about things that have nothing to do with anything. At one point, I think he's really in his head, he's having his like Perry Mason runaway jury moment. Like he's doing something right out of Law and Order in his head because he gets his planted stance. He starts going in on Cardi B and he says, today versus yesterday, all right? Yesterday, you had short black hair. Today, it's long blonde hair. 2 days ago, it was long black hair. Which is it? I don't know why he thought he had her. That was incredible. I don't know what I think he expected Cardi B to be like, I don't know. Oh no. What's happening? I thought he probably had some follow-up questions ready. It's like, if you're changing your hair, how do we know when you're not changing your story? All right? Miss Cardamom Basil. If that is your real name. And Cardi B just laughed it off. She was like, they're wigs. Like, what do you want me to do? And then, he gets into the stuff that's more relevant to the case, and he's trying to grill her back and forth with question after question after question. And he finally gets to this point where he's like, why did you feel threatened? She says the pregnancy thing and everything. But he's like, you said yourself that my client is about your height. Why would you be intimidated by her? And then Cardi B goes, yeah, I mean, she's a little bit taller than me, but she's bigger than me and everything. And I don't know what she wants to do. Now it seems like this person wants to beat me up. I don't know. Like, I don't know if they went from wanting a picture to beat me up or just wanted to beat me up and record. I don't know what's happening, right? And so then this guy goes, why are you so intimidated by it? You're saying that she's bigger than you. What makes you say that? And then Cardi B goes, like, do I have to say it? No. And then he's like, are you calling my client fat? Are you calling my client fat? All right? Did you call her fat that day? In fact, you called her fat that day, didn't you? And then Cardi B is like, no, I was only calling her the B word. Like, it was really just... was really just that. I didn't really have time for anything else, you know? Sort of said that over and over again. Didn't really get to work in any other details. And this lawyer, I don't know, like even this, even it's like now what we're getting into is stuff that I guess isn't nice, but I don't know how it helps his case, because then he just keeps egging it on. He's like, but you said that and you said other things, didn't you? You said other things. And then Cardi B, to her credit, it starts admitting everything that she said, right? She starts just repeating verbatim in court. She just cursing in court openly, just non-stop cursing in court, right? And he's like, is that what you said? Say exactly what you said. I mean, she's right here, right now. Say it again. Say it to her face. Say it again. And then even Cardi B is like, what is happening? Like, you want me to curse her out again? Like, is this one like a freebie or something? Like, I can't tell what's happening. No, it's like, no, you were so threatened. You were so completely threatened by my client. You know, what makes you so threatened? And then she's like, well, at the time I was pregnant and I was 130 pounds. All right. And then she was like twice my size. You know what I mean? And then once again, he gets on the same thing. He's like, are you calling my client fat? And she's like, no, I'm not saying. She just, you know. No, what? I don't know. What are you trying to say? Say it. Say what you want to say. There's no harm here. Say it. She's security heavy. That's so much worse. And this man keeps going. He's like, what do you mean security heavy? What are you trying to say? She's security heavy. What does that even mean? And Cardi B is like, you know, she built like she protect buildings. If it were me and I was Cardi B, I'd probably be sitting there furious. Cardi B better than me, you know? I'd probably be sitting there so angry. I'm just trying to live my life. I was trying to go to the doctor privately. My business is always out there. People get paid to get up in my business and everything. And I'm just trying to have a quiet moment. I'm not feeling well. I believe was her first child and everything. No one knows that she's pregnant. And then this whole thing blows up, and then she gets sued for $24 million. And, you know, she's better than me. I'd be sitting there furious at that lawyer. You know? And if I was a security guard sitting there watching this happen, I'd be furious at that lawyer. What are you doing? You're just getting me roasted in open court. This doesn't feel like it's getting me any closer to $24 million. Oh. Because I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm better than anybody, okay? If times get tough, if things get rough for me, I run into George Clooney. It's just me and George Clooney in the hallway. I know I haven't been able to pay my rent or anything. Is his word against mine? I'm gonna see George Clooney. I'm gonna put my hand on the ground. I'm just gonna. Look at what George Clooney did to me. Why would Ocean's 11's George Clooney do this? I thought he was a good man. I can't believe that Ocean 12's own George Clooney would step on my hand like this. What's that you say? He still owns the tequila company? Oh. Oh no. Who would have thought Ocean's 13, George Clooney, would be capable of something like this? I thought he'd be president one day. Nah, easily. Easily. It doesn't have to be George Clooney. I don't even need, like, A-list. I really don't. If I see Neil deGrasse Tyson, times are tough, I run into Neil deGrasse Tyson, I'm throwing a bowling ball straight in the air and catching it with my head. I was like, oh no! I can't believe Neil deGrasse Tyson did one of Newton's laws of motion to me. I think it was the first one. Oh. Doesn't have any popular person will do, you know? If I see William H. Macy, I'm gonna run into a wall like that dude from the show Fargo. I'm gonna run right into. If I ever meet William H. Macy, he better pray we outside.
Because if she's trying to get money out of Cardi B, you know, this is not the way. She over here admitting that she only got nicked. Just a little. That quick. That. And she said that she had to have 2 plastic surgeries.
Even brought the plastic surgeon to court, and the plastic surgeon came into court with a picture, right? Now, the plastic surgeon, this is also why I feel like this case is bogus, because she doesn't have a picture of the scratch from the day that it happened. Her plastic surgeon had to come in and do a before and after picture, and honestly, I don't know if that dude, the plastic surgeon, I don't see what he did. Like, it's... Even when they tried to show the cut, like the little scar that Cardi B supposedly gave her, maybe they didn't zoom in enough. Like, I don't know what's... But they had the little line pointing straight to it, and I'm squinting. It doesn't even look like Cardi B did $24 of damage.
Oh, you try and get money out of Cardi B, this is not the way to do it. All you gotta do is make sure y'all are still alone. The other problem, and the reason this whole case feels fishy, is because her lawyers, and I suppose even her, didn't want the receptionist or the doctor that broke them up testifying. That seems suspicious. If I got $24 billion worth of damage done to me, I'd call everybody who was within earshot. You know what I mean? Oh, you heard me. You remember? I was like, oh no, $24 million just fell out of my face, right? So the fact that her lawyers didn't want those people testifying seems fishy. And then you kind of understand why. I don't know if she was a fully like surprise witness or anything, but I know they were trying to block it for a long time. And so the receptionist finally sits down on the stand and testifies, right? And the security guard's lawyer is over here asking just all the relevant questions, right? And some of the questions are getting objected to and then sustained because they're a little leading. You know what I mean? Like he asked a question about how wasn't it my client's job to see fit who should and should not be in the building? And then obviously Cardi B's lawyers objected because how is the receptionist for one office building in this entire building supposed to know all the ins and outs of the security guard's job, right? And they get to this moment where the receptionist comes out because she says that she heard a commotion, and she gets out there and Cardi B is up against a wall like this, like back up against the wall, and security guard is yelling in her face, right? And so then she, immediately upset by what she's seeing, gets in between the two of them and is breaking it up and tells the security guard, I don't know what's going on here, but you need to go back to your post. This is very unprofessional, everything. And everybody's screaming just so everybody can be heard, right? And the lawyer gets excited. He's like,
And so, do you think that this could be the moment that Cardi B scratched my client's face? And then the receptionist goes, actually, I'm really the only one that got hit out of the both of them. Like, you know, you try to be a good Samaritan, but... And not only does she say that she's like the only one that got hit between them, but she got a scratch on her face, a scratch that bled, and a scratch on her face that bled that came from the security guard. You could tell the lawyer's out here panicking. He's... Whoops. Okay, all right.
and so then he starts, in my opinion at least, sort of like badgering her a little bit with questions to try to like double back from the fact that now it looks like the only person that may have assaulted someone is his client.
And so he then says, he's like, yes, but you also weren't there the entire time, so you didn't witness the entire altercation. Maybe Cardi B spit on my client before you got there. Maybe she scratched her face before you got there, but you got there and you broke it up and you say that you didn't see anything. But maybe something happened before you got there. You don't know. You don't know. And then the receptionist was like, yeah, I guess I didn't know what it was like to be there till I was there. Yes, I suppose. You got me there. Because it's not just the scratch, I should point out. The scratch is the main thing, but the security guard is also, to my knowledge at least, alleging that Cardi B got her fired as well. You know? And then they had the doctor testify. And I won't say that the security guard's lawyers tried to poison the jury, because they were pushing a narrative the entire time. And the narrative was that obviously the receptionist and the doctor would back Cardi B because she was a client of theirs, a patient. So it benefits them to back up her story, right? And they even say as much while the two people are on the stand, you know. But then the receptionist says, no, actually, the security guard hit me up and said we should sue Cardi B. And I was like, nah, because you started it. Which is also not great for a security guard's lawyer. He's over here, okay, well, look, nothing further. And then they had the doctor testify. Now, the doctor was the last to the scene, so by the time he comes out, the receptionist is getting in between Cardi B and the security guard. So he said he was also very upset about what was happening, you know, and he was trying to make sure this thing got broken up. Now, the doctor said, look, what I saw wasn't just unprofessional, it was very concerning to me. And I got out there, and the only thing I could think to do was try to match the body language of the security guards. I don't even know what that means, but I imagine it means he ran up out there, he saw three people arguing, and he was like, hey! Cut that out! Because by his own account, it's not like he the one pulling people from people or anything. Reception has already broken it up and taken some punishment, and so... And then took Cardi B in, they had their appointment and everything, and then he was so disturbed by what happened and what he saw that he reached out to Superior for the security guard, and, you know, said that soon after that she was taken downstairs during a shift and like let go, right? And that also doesn't look great for her case, because she alleges that Cardi B got her fired, and now this dude in open court was like, no, it was me. It was me. It was me 100%. And I guess I'm just coming from a place of like, if you really wanted to sue Cardi B for $24 million, you don't wait until there's other people involved that are all going to have different accounts of what happened. If you wanted to sue Cardi B for $24 million, you just walk up to Cardi B before she gets in the elevator and say, "Hey, Cardi B, how you doing?" And then throw yourself down some stairs. That's going to be the easiest way to do it, you know? Throw yourself down some stairs, all the while screaming out Cardi B singles for every step that you hit. You finally hit that last step, you're like, oh, why would top charting artist Cardi B do this? Oh, she's really about that life. These are bloody shoes. Hey friends, I have some great news for you. So this week, I'm going to be hosting The Daily Show for the very first time. I'm hosting tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. And this show has meant a lot to me for a long time. I started there as a writer in 2017, and I've loved it ever since. I've loved the people, I've loved the process, and for the first time, I get to sit behind the desk. And if you've ever wondered what the show would look like through my lens, well, this is your chance to watch it. And I just want to say thank you, because this is in no small part because of you, because of this community, because of everything that we're doing on this channel is a lot of what led to this opportunity. And so I appreciate you very, very much. And if you are inclined, if you're in the area, go ahead and watch Comedy Central live or on the Paramount Plus app. There will also be YouTube videos of clips of it dropping as well. But thank you so much. I hope you enjoy seeing me host. I have some amazing guests, and I'm excited to bring the show to you in the best way that I can. And I hope you enjoy the video this week. Bye.
Please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
Okay. All right. Look. Okay. So we are in week 2 of they're like kind of being files but no files, but like there's kind of like we don't know, but he doesn't know, but he knows, but he doesn't remember, but he wasn't there, but even if he was there, it's not what you think. But like it's a lot going on, right? And so with everything that fell out with Trump last week, now you have people being like, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files, right? And in prison is Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, in case you're not familiar, Ghislaine Maxwell, like one of the central people to this case, she trafficked for Jeffrey Epstein, right? And she is still alive somehow, and in prison, okay? Yeah, so she's still alive in prison, right? And she actually got 20 years for her part in this trafficking. And so now with Trump calling Epstein a hoax, there's been a lot of, how do I put this? There's been a lot of unintelligible takes on if he's saying the entire thing is a hoax or just his involvement is a hoax, or no one can really tell. There's not a lot of like centered messaging on what is supposed to be the narrative here. And because of that, now you got Ghislaine and her lawyers from prison being like, oh, well, if it's a hoax. No, I'm just saying if like nobody got trafficked to anybody, then I'd like to appeal, right? And then there's people that are like, the client list. We need the client list. We need the little black book. We need the client list. Why won't they release things? And then you even had Democrats saying in the House, like, we want to release the files, and they put it to a vote. And Republicans voted to block that release. And they voted to block that release, they said, because, oh, it was part of another bill and it would have passed a bunch of stuff we don't want to pass. So then a bipartisan group went out and they were like, now we should vote on this, and it's Epstein stuff only, right? So everyone's like, release the files, right? And then Ghislaine is like, I got the files. I got them in my head. Like, I'll tell you right now, which is such a crazy thing to me to watch. If you've been watching this whole thing take place, Ghislaine got arrested in like 2020. I think she got sentenced in like 2022. And she's been in jail this whole time. Why is she just now saying, I got the list? It feels like when your boy who like really thought he was gangster finally goes to jail and gets like the first roach in his sandwich, and he's like, I'll tell anything you need me to know, like anybody, if you have any questions, I will answer follow-up questions, just please get me out of here. I think there's rats in the cheese, please. And so you had Trump really stressing this week, stressing hard, going back and forth with people. This man's getting more comfortable cursing out loud and on text. Like, he's crazy. Just like decorum's fully out the window. Like, there wasn't much of it to begin with, but now he's just like, ah! And this is the other thing that trips me up, is that they're throwing everything they can in front of this like Epstein monster, like Pac-Man, right? Let's just throw this while we run away. And they never admit that Trump isn't doing well in any way, ever. And then they came out saying he had chronic venous, I don't really know what that third word is, I'm not gonna lie to you. But basically he got chronic veins or something. I don't know if that means he got extra, or I don't know what it is, but it's affecting, his health a little bit, and his hand looks like he got an ace bandage on it, but like that's his skin, right? And so I saw that and I was like, wow, they must really want this thing to go. Talk about anything else, please. And then just today, Tulsi Gabbard released these Obama-Russia files. You know, the files everybody's talking about. You know, the files that just last week were like, when they gonna release those Obama-Russia files? Why can't they get the Obama? What is Obama hiding? All right? We want his Russia files. You know, we've been hungry, thirsty for some Obama Russian files. Ooh, I can't wait to it. I can taste them. Let me get those Obama Russia files. That's so bad. That's so bad. It means you have nothing. You truly have nothing to throw in the way of this thing, because Obama, Russia, you won. You won in 2016. You won in 2024. I haven't read the Obama, Russia files, admittedly. I haven't read them yet. But I have a spoiler alert for you. Trump came out on top. And he over here stressing when he could have just done nothing. Eventually, he's in the White House, he's asked about it, and he's like, look, if Pam Bondi finds anything credible, she can release it. That's all he had to say the whole time. He could have avoided this entire thing if he had just said that, look, if the AG finds something credible, she can release it. And then people really don't have much to say, because it's like, that's what they want. He says you're gonna get it. I don't know if that's true, but like, that's all you have to do. Keep your calm, play it cool. Instead, he was like, why would you, And it's because he felt caught. And the only people who within this week have been as caught as Trump and reacted as badly was that couple at the Coldplay concert. I thought I was shocked when I saw like Trump's Epstein Files tweets, right? This thing, the clip is about 14 seconds. I've been watching it for 20 hours. Okay, all right. In case you haven't seen this, it's a Coldplay concert, right? Coldplaying. Coldplay doing their thing, all right? Being colds. Cold playing particularly hard that night. And they did this thing that's becoming more popular at big concerts, because Coldplay doing like a stadium. And there's a thing that you can do at a public event, like an entertainment event, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whatever, where you can put out a cam into the audience. And I don't know how to describe it, but when you do that, it does make the entire thing, as big as it is, feel more intimate. Because now you're over here enjoying Coldplay, and you see the other people there enjoying Coldplay, and they're just like you. And they're just as excited to be on the screen as you would be to be on the screen. And they're having such a good time, you know? And so you're like, this is amazing. We're all here together enjoying this thing. I genuinely like those cams because it reminds us that we're all doing the same thing, having a good time, you know? And if we're all doing the same thing, having a good time, maybe we're more alike than we think. If we're more alike than we think, then maybe when we leave the basketball game, when we leave the show, whatever, we have less reason to argue. We have less reason to look at each other as like just completely different entities. It's like, you're just like me. You like Coldplay. You know, and I'm not you know, a big enough act to do like a stadium or anything like that. I don't really have screens at my shows and stuff. But I heard that the CEO of the largest tech firm in Louisville was here tonight, and so I brought a cam out tonight. If you want to. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I can't afford that at all. No, but if you didn't see the clip, is basically Coldplay throwing people up on the cam and having little interactions, or like playing a little something just for them, or just commenting on how sweet people look. And they're going, people, and then they go to this couple. It's not just any couple. They go to a couple holding each other Titanic style. And to be fair to her, she didn't have the arms out like Rose. She was holding his arms. And then Chris Martin is like, look at this couple. And I don't know, okay. This is where I wish I knew more about like technology and the brain and stuff like that. Because the same way that there is latency on the internet and there's a delay on a call where sometimes you can hear yourself in someone else's side of the phone call and you can hear how you spoke, but there's a delay. It's like a second later you hear your own voice, what you just said as you're speaking. So it takes a second. And I don't know, because I've never been in a situation where I've been on a big camera like that, the amount of time it takes your brain to register that that's you that you looking at. Because they're over here, Titanic style. If you've ever seen the film Titanic, and if you're a 90s baby, you know that when Titanic came out initially, home release, it was on VHS. And it's such a long movie, it's such an epic, that there were 2 VHS tapes. If you're young and you don't know what a VHS is, don't tell anybody that. Keep that to yourself and Google it, all right? It makes people feel bad when we have to explain that we used to have to basically bring a projector home inside a hard casing and then put it in a VCR. If you don't know what a VCR is, that's some other letters you don't need to worry about, okay? You're never gonna come in contact with them in your life, but you would put the VHS into the VCR, you would hit play. You understand play, right? You're not too young for play. You would hit play and it would play the thing like it does on demand, but we didn't have on demand yet. Netflix wasn't born yet. We didn't know what streaming was. And Titanic came out and it was such a long movie. I hadn't seen this 2 VHSs. I hadn't seen that since Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments. If you're too young to know what Charlton Heston's 10 Commandments are, it is also a film, but that film is almost as old as the people the film is about, all right? That movie is about Moses, who probably had a VCR, really, like when you think about how long ago Moses was and when we used VCRs. But Titanic came home with you, it had 2 VHS tapes. And you watch the first VHS tape of Titanic and it plays till about half the movie. And then it tells you to enter tape 2. Tape 2, which will be far more depressing. If you were like me and you shopped at a lot of like thrift stores, sometimes when you go to a thrift store, you don't get to get the thing the way it was intended when it was sold. You might go to a thrift store and buy Titanic and think you got all the Titanic in one VHS tape. And then bring Titanic home and watch Titanic, but you only watch tape 1. And so you don't even know that there's a tape 2 until the end of the VHS where it says insert tape 2 and you don't have it. So you're like, all right, I'm just gonna have to settle with what I got, which was a very sweet story about 2 people who met on an epic adventure. I think I'm willing to leave it there. And it's not until years later you find out the horror that is Titanic Part 2. Part 2 where everything going awry. And all I can say is the first 2 seconds that this couple was on the kiss cam looked a lot like Titanic VHS tape 1. And then when they realize that they are the camera, it looks a whole like Titanic VHS tape 2. Honestly, they look like they on the Titanic. When about tape 2 takes place. And so you see them. And this is where things went wrong. Because rather than just playing it cool, than just, chilling, the woman immediately covers her face and whips around. Okay, all right, look, look. Don't judge, okay? When I was a kid, there were kids in my neighborhood who went a totally different direction than I did, right? And sometimes I'd hear about them, and you especially hear about them if you stop seeing them around. And I quickly got used to the idea that if I hadn't seen somebody a long time, they probably didn't just move away. They may have been locked up. Something may have happened to them, right? And there was a kid who was nice enough a few blocks down. Sometimes I would walk to work in the morning, and it was a long walk. And I would pass his house, and sometimes he'd be out front of his house with people. I'd say hi, they'd say hi. We weren't like close or anything. And one day when I was back home from college, I went to this hookah lounge with my friends. And at the hookah lounge were the guys who I used to pass by when I was in high school, working that job, running every day to work. And I asked them where, the fourth was, the dude that was usually with them. And they were like, oh, yeah, no, he doing a little time. I was like, what happened? And they were like, well, he ran up in this store to rob it. And, he had he was pretending to have a gun and everything. And not only did he not have a gun, the store clerk wasn't scared of him. And so he's over here doing one of these. Let's talk about this real quick. Because I've known people who have had people run up on them and they didn't see the gun, but they were sure they had a gun because of the way they moved with it, right? A little bit of weight to it. Maybe it was tucked. Maybe it was in the pocket. But there was just a slight motion that they had. There was just a way that they were behaving where if they didn't have a gun, this is some great acting. But this man, he ran up into the store. Give me everything. Do it now. I'm not messing around. I would hate for this to go off. And so the store clerk kept his cool, and he was like, no. He's like, what do you mean? I am armed, ready to kill. Oh, you don't think I'll do it? I'm crazy. And the store clerk, apparently, according to their story, told me, I don't think you'll do anything because... And he points up, and he looked up at the corner, and he was on camera without a mask. And so apparently he went, and walked out the store. I understand the immediate reaction to want to cover your face when you realize you're on camera. But don't do it with your fake gun hand. But he got arrested from rolling up in there and even the attempt and everything. And so he did a little time in jail. And I'm just saying, you're on the kiss cam. And immediately something seems awry when you go, oh! And that by itself wouldn't have actually been that bad. No, I'll tell you right now, this is what I firmly believe. I truly believe this from the bottom of my heart. I think that obviously, there's something up when you see yourself on the cam and go, oh, and then you turn around. But, like Chris Martin said, later in the video, maybe shy. Maybe you're shy. And if only one of them had reacted badly, if only one of them had reacted badly, they might not be in this situation. But she went, oh! And then the man just starts to sink. Where did he go? No, for real, where did this dude go? This man didn't just duck under what he thought the camera could cover. This man got caught. She turned around and he went, ooh, But like, where did he go? Like, truly, where was he? He never comes back. Did he open a portal? He might have been in an abyss. This was one of the crazy, because then he's gone and then she's just standing there. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know where their seats are, but it seems like he jumped. I was crying. This man went under everyone, I suppose. Fully disappeared. And then Chris Martin went, either that couple is really shy or they're having an affair. And the internet said, or? No, that's an affair, dog. Tried to be gracious just in case, but no. That was wild, and then we didn't know it yet. But there was another woman off to the side that presumably knows everything that's happening with them. And Wow, people find out quick. The internet works quick. Internet was like, all right, I got all night. I'm not at the Coldplay concert. And within hours, people found this dude's name, where he worked. They found her. They found out that they weren't married to each other. This man married, and then, the internet did a thing where, look. I do think it's important that people know the truth about what's happening in their lives. And I can only hope, genuinely hope, that the people that reached out to that dude's wife did it with at least some tact. But a lot of people reached out to her, commented, "This is where your husband's at. He's at the Coldplay concert." The Coldplay concert, from my research, isn't even that far from where you live, because I already went ahead and doxed him. I just want you to know. And so then people looked him up, and then they looked her up, and early into people looking her up, she had changed her last name on social, apparently. Knocked his name off. And then it looks like she deleted or made private her socials altogether, which I completely understand. And then people started looking into him. And this is the thing about treating people badly. As soon as something blows up like this, anything you ever did comes out. This dude cheating on his wife, and then other people were giving their little testimonies. "Oh, I worked with him. He's actually terrible. He makes toxic work environments. He's incredibly abusive to his employees," saying all this stuff, right? And I don't know if these people actually work with him or not. It's so hard to tell what about this is real versus people just trying to get in versus people trying to be part of it and stuff. And then I had a moment, genuinely, I had a moment where I was like, what if? Let's entertain for a second. What if this isn't real? I genuinely thought, because some of the kiss cam stunts, some of the things they do at sports games are completely fake. They'll be a fake proposal just to make everybody laugh and maybe go viral, and maybe they'll sell some more Bruins tickets. And then I even thought to myself, okay, you don't really see this happen in music. So maybe, what if this was Coldplay? What if Coldplay was look, this is what we gonna do, all right? We're gonna get the cam up, we're gonna show a bunch of people, we're gonna get it on one couple. They're gonna freak out, Jerry Springer style, all right? One of them gonna duck, he's never gonna come back. He disappears for life. She stands there. The lady next to her, who is supposedly her friend, laughs at their lives crumbling in front of her. It'll go viral. Everybody will be talking about the Coldplay concert. Everybody will be talking about what song we played right before it happened. Genuinely, you have to entertain a lot of things when you're trying to sift through if something's real or not. You have to be skeptical of everything. And I thought about it, and then I saw how Chris Martin moved on after that. And then I saw a wide shot, and I saw that the stadium looked sold out. So I was like, actually, it looks like Coldplay is doing fine. That theory is in the dirt. This looks very real. And then I thought about the company. Andy, his name is Andy. Andy works at a company called Astronomer. I had never heard of Astronomer. I don't think anybody was talking about Astronomer 2 days ago. So then for a second I was like, what if? Astronomer, a tech company, hired Coldplay to do a stadium show. Coldplay does the stadium show. They have all their fans there. The fans don't know that Coldplay's getting a little bit of money on the side for what's about to happen, and then they throw the camera on the CEO. They throw the camera on the CEO and another employee. And then they create this whole scandal. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's talking about astronomer. What is astronomer? Oh, it's an AI company. What do? Oh, they help manage workflow. These are conversations nobody was having 2 days ago. The assumption when you're in the news, when there's a scandal with your CEO, is that your stock price could drop. I don't know if it's a public company, but if the stock price is dropping, seems like a good time to buy. Maybe that's when they buy back their own stock. And then as soon as I was sitting in my room thinking all this, I was like, I think I've been too deep in this Epstein thing. Like, I think that maybe I have a problem. And I just it's really changing how my brain works. And then there's the fallout of this dude, not only is he caught cheating in front of thousands of people, in front of the internet, but also we find out he's a CEO. We're not gonna find much grace there. People aren't really fans of CEOs right now. And then on top of being a CEO, he's a billionaire. You basically made a Venn diagram of the three people that people hate the most. And it's a circle with your name in it. Because it is a terrible thing. A terrible thing that happened. And I just think about how that's something that happens now. You know? Our grandparents, our great-great-parents would have never got caught. No, people's grandparents had whole extra families. And as long as you were willing to be a gentleman about it and really take care of both families, they never met. You know, you went on your family vacation with one family beginning of the summer, family vacation with the second family at the end of the summer, because there used to just be more affordability in the US. A lot of people talk about how back in my day, I could buy a house right out of college. And it's yes, and afford an extra family. Don't forget that. I've talked about this before. I've known people growing up who had that thing happen, where the granddad, they have cousins and half brothers and sisters because of what the granddad did back in the day. And he was doing that on a job that doesn't even exist anymore. That's how much things have changed. This man had 2 whole families as a traveling fork salesman. This man would just go up to people's doors and be like, look, eventually in your life you will come across some spaghetti. And when that happens, you'll want to be, he sounded like life insurance, you're going to want to be ready when that spaghetti is in front of you, all right? You don't want to be sitting here like a fool with a knife and a spoon. You want to be ready with that spaghetti, all right? And how you get ready? My forks. I got the best forks. My forks can do anything. I got fine dining forks. I got regular forks. I got the nickel forks. You know those forks made of nickel they'll never rust because they're always kind of rusty. If you need forks, I can get it right, all right? Got all types of forks. I got the 4-prong, I got the 3-prong, I got the, he bad at counting. And then people let him in. He's like, looking at this, was it two bedroom? 2-bedroom house? How many kids you got? Oh, you got 3 kids in a 2-bedroom house? You're gonna need at least 16 forks. made his living selling forks. One day, somebody opened the door for this man and he's immediately smitten. Oh, hello. She's like, yes, how can I help you? He's like, oh, I was trying to, I had this briefcase where I was trying to like fork you, like I just want to. I'm trying to give you fork. I mean, I'm trying to sell you forks. I sell forks. My name is John. And then she lets him in. And they get to talking about forks. And then about other things. And he doesn't tell her he's got a wife at home. And they start an affair. An affair where maybe she knows about the wife, maybe she doesn't. But then things grow. They feel like they're in love. They're like, let's get married. He marries her. Now he's got 2 fork families to support. Now he's got to sell forks harder than ever. He's got to go to as many doors as possible because the kids need braces. All of them. No, just he sells as many forks as he can, and then one day, one fateful day, sadly, a Sears opens. He's out of business immediately. If you're young and you don't know what Sears is, it was like a department/everything store where basically it was like Amazon, but you had to go. There was no click. You had to leave the house to go to Amazon, and then you had to go put everything in your cart yourself, and then you had to buy it yourself. It was like working at the factory at Amazon, except you just grabbed what you needed and you left. But then one day Sears opens, he realizes he's ruined. What else is he gonna do? He's only good at selling forks. And so he has to sit his family down. Be like, look, I'll be right back, I'm going to get cigarettes. And he goes to his other home, his other family, and he's like, sit down, y'all. I have something to tell you, it's important. I have to go get cigarettes. And then he would go off and he'd have his own life, and he would die with a lot of life insurance, and then the 2 families wouldn't meet each other until it was time to collect. And that was the gentlemanly way to cheat in the 30s. All right? Because a CEO of a company dating, openly cheating with, I didn't know this was a real title, with the CPO, which CPO, I found out today, stands for Chief People Officer, which sounds like the most made-up job I've ever heard in my entire life. That job sounds very fake. Chief People Officer sounds like what you say at Thanksgiving when you go home unemployed, knowing that your brother is a doctor and your sister's a lawyer. I'm the Chief People Officer. Oh, and I'm Master of Business. That is crazy. I know it's a real job, I know it's a real title and everything, but just, you could have named it something else. To say that you're in the C-suite, just Chief People Officer, really sounds like it was not on anyone's mind before the name came out of their mouth. It's like, we have to give her a title. What's the title? She's head of HR. No, she was already head of HR. She got promoted. What is she over again? HR and personnel and hiring. It's like, okay, chief people officer? I don't know. No, it was crazy. Crazy. And now it just recolors everything with that company. Now they're probably having an investigation right now. You know? Makes you take a second look at everything that happened between them, like performance reviews. Apparently, in one of the performance reviews, the CEO said that the CPO, this is what I read, this might not be right, because everybody talking. But apparently the CEO said the CPO had deeply extensive and impressive knowledge. And that's nasty. I know what he's trying to say. No. That is inappropriate, if anything. I hope they take you down just for that. That's unacceptable. You know? You shouldn't do things that you know are wrong. And I think when you get caught, it's also important to know you're caught and to handle it as best as possible. And I think that as far as that kiss cam couple goes, the only way they could have handled that thing worse was if they had held up signs that said there are no Epstein files. Like,